Top Trump officials accidentally text war plans to the Atlantic's editor in chief, sparking a firestorm of congressional outrage and a debate over leadership accountability that transcends party lines. What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Zeus, and I'm back with another video. If this is your first time at the channel, just know I greatly appreciate you. Why don't you go ahead and hit subscribe? We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers, and we are taking it the humble route. Guys, listen. Today we're looking at the craziest thing that I think all of us could ever see. Essentially, there's a scandal right now that's involving the top U.S. intelligence officials, a leaked signal chat, and Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic. It's a tale of military attack plans gone public, congressional hearings, and a fierce debate over what's classified and what's not. I'm going to try to break down the timeline, the players, the people involved, and what this mess means for leadership. Whether you're Team Trump or not, I'll channel both CNN and Fox News to keep it fair and critical. So without further ado, let's look into it. So guys, this was going on. On March 15th, 2025, the U.S. launched airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen, and days later, Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, dropped a bombshell titled "The Trump Administration Accidentally Texted Me Its War Plans." He's been added by mistake to a Signal group chat by some of the biggest names in Trump's administration. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, National Security Advisor Mike Walls, who is allegedly the one who included him in the group chat, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, with plenty of others, and it's about 18 people in total who were in that chat. Keep in mind, at some point, I'm going to put up the video that includes the text so you guys can be able to read it for yourself. So Goldberg essentially says, he's got real-time details, strike times, targets, even weather conditions, and at first, when he first, dropped this information, which was like yesterday, thinking it might harm. He put out some information, but he withheld a lot, right? Because this happened on the 15th, and today's what, the 26th. So it was so funny because yesterday the Senate and House hearings on March 25th and 26th today. So they started yesterday and they're still ongoing today. Intelligence officials like Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe, they insisted when they were questioned about it that, nope, none of these conversations or none of these texts in the group chat were classified information. So that's when Goldberg's like, all right, bet. And he publishes the full chat transcript today. And by the way, these receipts that he brought, proves what he saw. So I want to first start off with looking at how CNN is looking at it. And then from there, we'll look at how Fox News is looking at it. And then we'll have a greater conversation. So let's see what CNN got to say.
That Cohen has new reporting as well for us in this breaking news. What are you learning about what has been published when you hear J.D. Vance saying this was oversold by Goldberg?
Yes, Sarah, sources are telling me and our colleague Natasha Bertrand effectively the exact opposite, and that the information that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth posted in this group chat was highly classified at the time. And that's especially because at that moment, the operation had not even started yet. One of our sources, a U.S. defense official, says that the operational plans that are these are our operational plans that are highly classified in order to protect service members, the ones that were obviously helping carry out the strike, that is really laid out in a detailed timeline in these messages posted by the Atlantic today. And look, these are the kind of updates that would be given to the president in a highly classified setting in real time as the operation unfolded. Our sources are really stressing that, of course, this information was as sensitive as it appeared to be. And there's been some hints as to that being the fact, including yesterday, CIA Director John Ratcliffe was asked a hypothetical about whether or not pre-decisional planning deliberations, like what's detailed in these messages, should be delivered in a classified setting. And he said, of course they should. And look, but this is something that Donald Trump himself said yesterday when he was asked that there was no information in these chats or in this chat that was classified. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth actually sort of declined to address a question whether or not he declassified the information that he posted. But we're learning today now that the details and the information that Hegseth specifically posted to this group chat was in fact classified at the time that he wrote it.
3 signs you're
All right, so let's switch over to Fox News and see what they had to say.
To the White House, where Peter Doocy is standing by as we have this Fox News alert for you. The Atlantic has now just published brand new messages from the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and others from that Signal chat group that accidentally included a journalist. Peter Doocy is live at the White House for us. The acknowledgement comes from the reporter that Hegseth, Peter, said that nobody was texting war plans in response to the release of these messages by the journalists. You also had members of the security team in that hearing yesterday saying no classified information was shared in that group, which led the journalist to then publish this piece just moments ago saying, we faced a dilemma then because he said that war plans were indeed exchanged on this text. What are you hearing and what are we learning now?
Well, we have some more of the material that was being discussed on this chat. Pete Hegseth says no war plans, and let's show you what we have, and you can decide if this looks like a war plan. He texted the group at one point. At 2:10, more F-18s launch, second strike package. Then at 2:15, strike drones on target, all caps. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop, pending earlier trigger-based targets. It goes on to explain F-18 strikes, and then he says more to follow. He says they were currently clean on OPSEC. We know that the Pentagon has more detailed imaging and coordinates than that. And there is no imaging or satellite photos or coordinates or targets listed here specifically. And so it would seem that if you're going to fly F-18s and drones to take out Houthi guys, wherever it is that they're hiding out, the Pentagon has all of that information. So when they say there's no war plans, maybe they just mean that this text image did not include the full package of everything that they knew and everything that they could see and hear on the ground. But there is definitely some details, at least about timing, that is available. But the White House basically, or rather top national security officials basically dared the Atlantic to put this out. They sent Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe to the Hill yesterday to say there was nothing classified in here. Jeffrey Goldberg says that Caroline Leavitt emailed him last night suggesting that they did not want this material out there. But if it's not classified, it's not classified, and the Atlantic decided to go forward. So that's where we're at.
And so Peter, there's no.
All right, so I'm gonna post both of these videos, the links in the description for you guys to take a look for yourself. But just peep how, Peter Doocy from Fox, like, he wasn't really trying to say what it was or say how he felt, because I mean the facts are right there. But so guys, this is what's going on, right? Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, he's texting stuff like 14-15 strike drones on target, first bombs drop, and then Mike Walls, who accidentally added Goldberg, essentially that's what they're saying. He's a national security advisor. He took the blame, but couldn't really explain how it happened. And then Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe, they were faced extreme grilling yesterday, in Congress, claiming it was all unclassified. And the Vice President J.D. Vance, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, they were in the chat too, as well as like some other White House insiders like Stephen Miller. But the hearings, it's intense. If you look up these, like, they're all over YouTube right now, the hearings with these intelligence agents, these intelligence officials, it's extremely intense. So the Senate Intelligence Committee questioned Gabbard and Radcliffe. Democrats like Mark Warner pushed back. He's saying, if all of this stuff is not classified, show us everything. And, Republicans were trying to dodge, or, they weren't really trying to say too much. And then today, the House Intelligence Committee, they doubled down. Representative Jason Crow demanded Hegseth resign, saying no accountability, no fixes. Representative Jim Hines, he said it was mind-boggling. And then, Pete Hegseth, he's out I think he's in Hawaii right now. And he's just trying to be extremely defensive on Twitter, tweeting stuff like there was no specific targets were named and different things like that. Now, from a CNN lens, right, this is a national security disaster. It's sloppy, it's reckless, it's a breach that could have tipped off enemies. And you got to keep in mind, this again happened on the 15th of this month. Jeffrey Goldberg has had all this information this whole time, right? What if he decided to have dropped it at the time that he received it, right? But he did wait some time for that act to actually go through and now bring it up, because the role of journalism is to uncover certain things that won't be privy to everyday citizens, right? So however you want to take that information, he didn't expose the information as it was happening. He did wait some time, and then they egged him on, and then he released everything, because he didn't release everything at first. He released a snapshot, but then because they were going about it like, oh, saying it's unclassified, he's like, okay, well, if it's unclassified, everybody read what they put out and see for yourself. And then like Peter Doocy and Fox, they'd say obviously, Jeffrey Goldberg, he's like a Trump hating sensationalist, and the administration's just using modern tools like Signal. Like Signal's not illegal, right? Both sides have a point, but neither side fully owns the mess, right? Now, let's try to map it out. March 15th, the strikes hit Yemen. Sometime before that, Waltz adds Goldberg to the chat. Big whoops, right? March 24th, Goldberg's first piece drops explaining what has happened, teasing the leak but holding back details. Then March 25th, the Senate hearing, we have officials denying classified leaks. And then today, March 26th, the House hearing ramps up, and the Atlantic publishes the whole chat, timestamps, screenshots, everything. Now, the real kicker is that Goldberg only went full transparency after the administration said it wasn't classified, guys. I can't stress this enough. He only put out a little bit, but because they stressed it so much how it's unclassified, he was like, well, if it's unclassified, everybody should be able to read it, right? Because, our current administration has said that they're huge on transparency, right? Now, CNN can frame this type of journalism as exposing incompetencies, right? Now Fox, they'd call it like, oh, it's a gotcha move by someone who's biased, who doesn't like Trump. Obviously, I think it's both. Goldberg, probably he's not a saint. None of us are saints, but the administration handed him the ammo to put out this information, right? Leadership is about owning your mistakes, not deflecting with, it's not classified, right? And this isn't really just about Trump's team. It's about leadership, point blank period. Every administration, red or blue, has to take the good with the bad, right? Now, imagine if Hillary Clinton's, like that whole email server saga had included real-time war plans leaking to a reporter. The outrage would have been deafening. And this also should be extremely important too. Hegseth, he's facing resignation calls. Like a lot of people are telling him he got to resign, but he's doubling down. Waltz is out here saying, "Oh, my bad. I can't really explain how he was added, different things like that." And then we have Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe, swearing it's not a big deal. Yet the chats have strike times and targets. This is the type of stuff that feels sensitive. Like I was reading it, like, should I even be reading this? You feel me? But you guys are gonna see it when I post the video. I'm gonna include the video somewhere on this video so you guys can actually be reading it. So the White House is obviously in turmoil. We haven't seen President Trump all day today. Usually every day he's out and about, he's in front of the press, different things like that. But today is like the first time he ain't been on Twitter, nothing. He ain't been on the news, nothing. So, everybody's trying to attack, Jeffrey Goldberg's credibility instead of trying to fix the process, and that's not accountability. That's dodging. CNN's take, would hammer the risks to troops and demand that obviously heads roll. Should people be getting fired over this? Fox might argue it's overblown, like nothing was really revealed and different things like that. Just a tech slip up in a world that's moving so fast. But the truth is, if you're running the country, you don't get to just shrug off a breach that's this big. You have to own it, you have to fix it, or you got to step aside. Honestly, that's leadership. Whether it's Trump today or someone else tomorrow, you have to be able to take the bad as well as take the good. Okay, so where does this leave us? Obviously, as the day goes by, we're going to see more and more information uncovered. Just like Peter Ducey said, the Pentagon obviously had a little bit more information, and there's still going to be more hearings likely, and maybe some legal fallout. We don't know, because there's obviously laws about preserving official communications could come into play. Because from what I'm understanding, Signal kind of has like the same type of technology with Instagram. You know how you upload an Instagram story, after 24 hours, it gets deleted. Well, Signal also has something similar where certain messages can be deleted after a few hours. So there could be some legality in you have to preserve official communication, because you guys are going to see the text. This looks like some sort of official communication that was taking place. Now, should official communication be deleted, or should it remain for the government to maintain, right? So I don't know. You guys let me know. Was this classified? Was it unclassified? Is this reckless? I'm just trying to give you guys what's going on, man. But if you like this deep dive, smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, man. I can't even talk anymore. Hit the bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Send this video to someone who might see some value in it. I'll try to keep you guys updated as this story progresses. Is this a Trump administration fail flat out, or media overreach, or both? Let's talk about it below. Never ever forget, it's you and I verse. Information, application, execution. Until next time.